cannot take millions of dollars from the wealthiest and most powerful people in this country and then claim to be an agent of change.
Sparks have long been flying on the Republican side of the campaign this year, but now Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders are slinging it pretty good as well. What's triggered the personal attacks? Is this just about crunch time? Was this the new state of play? Let's discuss the impact on the Hillary campaign from what you just heard there. Senior advisor for Hillary for America, Jeremy Byrd. Good to have you here, Jeremy. What goes through your mind when you hear Senator Sanders make that charge?
I mean, I think the biggest thing that I think is, I do wish that he would go back to the pledge he made earlier in the campaign, that he would run a campaign about issues and not a campaign of personal attacks. And I hope we'll see that the rest of the primary, back to a campaign around the issues.
Why isn't that an issue? Whether or not you are compromised by your contacts, by the money that is driving your campaign, that's real.
Well, what's real is, and you'll see this tomorrow night, I think, at the debate in Brooklyn, I think you'll see both candidates getting back to a real debate about the issues, about where we want to take this country, where our party's taking this country. And I think those are the real conversations to have, real conversations to have about our policy positions and the difference between the two candidates. I think you see that tomorrow night.
But look, I mean, you were known as the field general. You know what it's like out on the hustings and what you have to do. It takes money. Where do you get that money becomes a big concern. Money in the game is a big concern. Everybody says it. Nobody wants to unilaterally disarm. Clinton will be uniquely burdened on that issue now against Sanders and in a general election if she's the nominee. So it's not going to go away.
Well, I think when you look at her campaign, especially when you look at her campaign in the general, and she will be the Democratic nominee, you will see a large contributions coming from the grassroots. And you've seen that throughout the campaign. I think you'll see that as it fuels her campaign in the general election, as the party coalesces around her, and as we go up against, well, we'll see whether it's Trump or Cruz or someone from the other side. You'll see the grassroots really fueling her campaign, as it has been.
The simple argument is, how do you make the case that you can be an agent of change, as Sanders says, so that you can go against these interests when you've taken money from them? That's the paradox.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you look at her policy positions, if you look at whether you look at her as First Lady, you look at her record as Senator here in New York, you look at her record as Secretary of State, I think when you look at her record, she has fought for us. She has fought for working families. When you look at the primary here in New York, right, and the economic development record that she had in the state as Senator around communities like Buffalo, that is a strong record. And as her policy director said yesterday, that's the kind of blueprint that she's going to take to the White House.
Rochester yesterday, Bernie Sanders is there whipping up the crowd. They're booing when he's making references to Hillary Clinton. The concern is, how do you get those millennials? How do you get the African Americans, the Latinos activated? How do you get these people back?
Well, I don't think there's a question about getting them back. I mean, if you look at what's happened...
For the millennials, let's take them one at a time.
Sure. When you look at what's happened, in the primary, you have a candidate who has 2 million more votes than Bernie Sanders and Secretary Clinton. A candidate who has won important states like Ohio, Florida, Iowa, Nevada, Virginia, North Carolina. I think you've seen her put together a coalition that, number one, a coalition that can win the Democratic primary and will win the Democratic primary. And then you'll see, I think, as the two come together, as the camp comes together, those folks who have voted for him in these states come together and look at what the choice is in the general election. And you've been talking a lot today about, the Republican side. That choice couldn't be more clear. And I think that's how you'll get people coming together for the Democratic nominee.
Any chance at a unity ticket?
I don't know about that,
Is it in the realm of possibility?
I don't know about that. I do know that what you'll see, and, this might go till, June after the California, primary. But I think what you'll see is a coming together of the grassroots on both sides, coming together of the candidates, a coming together of folks as we unite against what could be, a Trump or Cruz ticket.
What do you think we're going to see tomorrow night?
I think you'll see a lively debate, and I hope that it'll be on the policy issues and not in the sort of character attack range.
But integrity matters. Money matters. I mean, it's not fiscal policy, true, but it's all about how you do the job, right? I mean, these are real issues. They always are. Clinton will bring them up against whoever she's being opposed to as well.
Sure, yeah, and I think you'll see a lively debate. I think you've seen that throughout the primary. If you look back to all the different debates, since this started, and you compare them to the Republican side, I think you've seen lively debates on the Democratic side. I think you'll see that tomorrow in Brooklyn.
What does lost his compass mean? That's what Hillary Clinton said about Bernie Sanders. What does that mean?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think when you see some of what he's been leveling, especially on the issues like the qualified, which is just not true. And if you look at her record, Secretary of State, a senator, et cetera. I think
he says he was responding to you guys. The campaign came out saying Bernie Sanders isn't qualified. That's why he kept doing this. He was like, if I'm not qualified, then she's not qualified, and here's why. Do you really think he started that?
I don't think it came from the Clinton camp, so I'm not sure where he got the information. But what I think you'll see tomorrow is, and you'll see continually throughout the rest of the primary, is a spirited debate about what kind of party we're going to have going into the general election. I think that's good. I think that's good for the party.